Hello, everybody. Welcome to Young Science Leader series of talks. And this is the first talk in this 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. So we are restarting the YSL series with a guest session by Professor Anjana Munshi to give us some inspirational shots. So Professor Anjana Munshi is a renowned human geneticist, and she's working in my university, Central University of Punjab here in Bathinda, as Dean Research and she's former dean of the School of the Health Sciences and former HOD, the head of the Department of Human Genetics and Molecular Medicine. She did her MPhil PhD from, and also she's a NET qualified and UGC, CSAR, ASRB, lots of, the lower education. I am really waiting to hear your story, ma'am. You are going to speak more about your educational background and family, early childhood. Those are really interesting. And earlier she worked as former research associate with the CSIR and former scientist and head Department of Molecular Biology, Institute of Genetics and Hospital for Genetic Diseases at Osmania University in Hyderabad. And she's member of many professional bodies and research projects, handled 5 major projects that she has handled. And madam has more than 116 publications with 2 books and 22 book chapters, and a very prolific life, a fertile, the caliber that. And more than that, she is also a diaspora of the Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandit. And I'm really interested to hear about your early childhood story that you have never shared with anybody. So really looking forward to hear your story, ma'am. And here with me, co-moderating the session is, we all know, she has been moderating for quite some time, Ms. Shruti Sheshadinathan, and she's working with Biocon in Bangalore. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to hear your lecture. I just read some of your papers. You have worked extensively in genetics, especially in epilepsy and some neurological diseases. Since you also qualified CSIR UGC NET, so would also like to know like how to clear, because many students face a lot of issues of how, we require some tips on how to qualify such competitive exam. Looking forward to hear your talk. Thank you.
So should I start?
Yes, over to you, ma'am. You may please share your screen. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, is it visible, Felix?
Sorry, not yet. You would need to click the share screen and
just a moment. Munshi, just a moment. I'll do it.
Yes, perfect now.
Yeah. So at the onset, let me thank Dr. Felix for giving me this opportunity, because we get busy with our daily routine, and then we forget where from did we actually come, how was the journey. So I think it's made me to go down the memory lane and try to recollect all my childhood memories and other parts of it. Still I have reached where I am currently. So this first slide is the place of my birth. As Dr. Felix told, I am a Kashmiri Pandit. I come from this place, which is really heaven on earth, really a very, very beautiful place. And, Pushi, next nahi ja raha. Yeah. So I was, sorry for the interruption. I was born and raised in Srinagar, Kashmir. So you can see the banks of Jhelum, and this is somewhere, among these houses was my place where I started my childhood. And unfortunately, we have lost this place because of the reasons known to everybody. And this is where I started my journey. I was born to parents. My mother, she's a housemaker, and my father, he worked with government of J&K. And as a child, I really loved water because we used to live on the banks of Jhelum. So I loved water. And something which really fascinated me, when the sun rays in the evening would fall on that water, I would be watch that for hours together, and till the suns used to set. I was the only girl child in my family. So I played cricket with my brothers, and was interested in essay writing, and mathematics was something that fascinated me. And I used to try my level best when I started my schooling. I did not go to very high-fi schools. I went to normal average schools, where we didn't have to pay a heavy amount as the fee. And but my passion was always as a child to stand first in my class. And I somehow kept that. And maybe once, if I missed it, I would feel depressed, if I would not keep it. But most of the times, if I remember, I have always retained that. I used to retain that title of standing first in my class. And my schooling, as I told you, very normal schooling. Not go I didn't go to hi-fi schools, but was inspired by teachers in the school. This was my first school where I studied till 8th class. This was a middle school at a place which is called as Ganpatya Srinagar. And then after that, you can see, this is my picture when I was in 3rd class. So I could just find this because we lost many of our things when we left Kashmir, because of the like turmoil there. So somehow I could find this picture somewhere, and that's why I have put it here. And then this is my next school where I did my 10th class. This is called as Basanta Girls High School. It was also a, like average kind of a school, in the sense that we didn't have quite hi-fi kind of things in the school, where currently where the kids go, and then you have lot many other fascinations. The focus was on education, and like teachers would focus, they would inspire students to proceed, in terms of education, go ahead and achieve something in life. And then, I was always fascinated by the white coat and stethoscope. That is my aim, was to become a doctor in my life when I was a child, because many of my cousins who used to go to hospital wearing those coats, I used to get fascinated, and I wanted to serve humanity. And at that time, somehow I missed it, because although I had cleared the entrance examination and something, because there were particular, say around 100 marks for the interview. I do not know what went wrong, and I couldn't get a seat in the local medical college. And I would really, at that time, I felt helpless. And I was encouraged by my cousin, who was a scientist at Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine. He told me that, why don't you opt research as a career? You can still add that, title doctor to your profile, if you pursue research as a career. So this really, I was impressed, and he took me out from this. I was very depressed, because I thought, everything is gone now. I will not achieve anything big in my life. But he inspired me a lot, and he took me to his lab, and he showed me how they work. So keeping that in mind, I went and joined my college. First year of my college I did at Government Women's College, Srinagar. After that, my father was transferred, to Jammu, and rest of the education till I finished my undergraduation, I studied at Government Women's College, Jammu, which is at Parade Ground, Jammu. Yeah, during this time also, the only passion was, to secure good marks and focus. And I was a very methodical kind of person, and I would prepare for the exams before time. And also, I don't remember having missed any question in the examination, because the concern was whatever syllabus has been prescribed, I must go prepared with it. And that's how I have always, it was a prestige at that time. If you always had you were a throughout, people used to say, he or she is throughout first class. That means every time, all these years, right from 10th class onwards till your undergraduation, till I completed my BSc, I always had more than 60%, which was considered very good at that time, because we had the pattern of examination was very different. And although I used to score around 74-75%, and then completed my BSc degree with botany, zoology, and chemistry. And one thing I really appreciate, that English was a very compulsory subject for all of us. It's not that I say that we English should be given a lot of importance, but in order to write well, because now we are communicating with the scientific society all over the world. This has helped me a lot. And there was a part of it where we had to write an essay, and we never had any idea as to what would be the topic. So it was always on spot, thinking about it and writing an essay of around 1,000 words for all the 3 years during my graduation. So I was awarded a BSc degree by University of Jammu. And then after that, I joined again the campus, because that was in a college. Then I joined the campus to pursue my master's program. This was also quite, we have only one university in Jammu, and there also in East department, when I was a student, there were only 12 seats. So you had to really score very well in order to get into the master's program. So I actually, the passion was to get into chemistry. But at that time, what happened, that we had chemistry, the competition was even from people who had mathematics and physics, and they used to score more than the students who were from the biology stream. So therefore, I just missed it by a couple of marks. And then I got into the Department of Biosciences to pursue my MSc master's degree. And that master's degree was especially in plant sciences. But then in third and fourth semester, we were given an option to choose a specialization, any specialized subject which we could pursue for 2 semesters exclusively. So therefore, I pursued genetics. Is something which started fascinating me. And DNA used to look very beautiful to me. And then also I was fascinated by the model organisms that were used. For example, the Drosophila, which is known as the Cinderella of genetics. So I was really fascinated, and there itself I made up my mind that if I have to go further, this should be my area of research. And my 2 mentors, you can see Professor MC Sharma and Professor AK Kaul. This is the person with whom I have, like him and another person, Professor Anima Langar, I pursued my PhD degree later. But this person especially used to teach us genetics at master's level. He used to sit on the table and he used to teach us genetics for hours together. We would get sometimes too late in the evening that he would not leave us. He would also stress upon as to how just go and read how exactly the experiments were carried out to know the basic principles of genetics, how they have actually come up with how did the results, without having a lot of sophistication in the labs. All of you must have seen that Morgan had a very, very small lab where he has come up with lot many basic principles of genetics. So, and he by whenever we had an exam or a discussion, Professor Sharma, he always used to tell me that you have a potential to do well in this area. And then later on, when I took this was in first year, and when I was promoted to second year, this person, Professor AK Kaul, who is still working at the age of 86, And he was the one, he used to teach us in such a manner that we used to get lost in his classes. There were no PowerPoint presentations, nothing like that. He used to just come with a paper, and there were details written, and he used to pursue, like he used to pressurize us to go and read the current articles. So that is how at master's level only we got into, we had a central library in the university, and we didn't have access to many journals, and internet was not that accessible to everybody at that time. So he also, I used to go to Delhi Indian Agricultural Research Institute library during my holidays and stayed with my cousins, and then I used to go to the library to dig out what is going on new in the field of genetics. And then these are some of the things. I stood second in my master's program, and that also because I fell sick in third semester. I was hospitalized, and I could hardly, very difficult time for me and to appear in my examination, but somehow I retained that. I got an outstanding grade in MPhil. MPhil was, I'll talk about, like, I did plant genetics. I worked on a plant which I will be talking about little later. Completed my, you see, this is something very which I want to share with you, that if you are focused and if you really you respect time limits, then I completed my MPhil and PhD degrees in just 4 years. I think still in a University of Jammu, there might be hardly anybody who has finished both the degrees in this much of time. I got university scholarship to pursue my MPhil, and because that was given to the students who had like either the first or the second rank. And I also qualified NET, which was conducted by UGC CSIR. And in the meantime, by the time I qualified NET, I already had completed my MPhil, and I directly applied for SRF because I had 2 papers published. So I got Senior Research Fellowship awarded by CSIR, and later on also was awarded Research Associateship by CSIR. Now, this is the plant I worked on in my MPhil and PhD degrees. This is Plantago lanceolata. I think Felix must be, he must be recognizing this plant. And, actually it's a wild ally of the plant which is known as Plantago ovata, which produces the isabogol of commerce. So I worked on the cytogenetic aspects of this, because ultimately the goal of our lab was, many students in his group, they used to work on various species of Plantago. The ultimate goal was to transfer some of the genes from wild allies to this, commercially important plant, because lanceolata has very big spikes and it used to produce many seeds. So the husk of this plant is used for, it has many medicinal properties. So that was the goal. So I worked on trisomics of this plant in my MPhil, and then many aneuploids in my PhD degree. And we also found many different new aneuploids, how they inherit, what is the inheritance pattern, if it is coming from male side or female side. We had a very big botanical garden in University of Jammu. It's really beautiful. And we had these plants in the last portion of the garden, where we used to go early in the morning to make crosses. And I used to stay, even if I was local, I stayed in the hostel, because I had to reach the field in the morning, but before just when the sun rises, so that I could make crosses. And I could also collect spikes of these plants, so that I can study them by fixing them, and then doing whatever cytogenetic work was assigned to me. So doing all this, I completed my PhD, MPhil and PhD, and I published a number of papers from my thesis. And then in addition to that, I was also interested in writing some common articles, so in like Science Portal and other places, like, so that also I contributed after I completed my PhD. While I had just submitted my PhD thesis, I had applied to this place which is called as Banastali Vidyapeeth, which is the only women university in the country. And this here I joined. I joined. I got selected as an assistant professor, and I worked here for 1.5 years. And after that, I got engaged and I was supposed to get married. So therefore, there was no way, because my husband, who is a scientist with the Department of Atomic Energy, he he was posted at Shillong. So it was there was no option for me to continue here, because we were at two different ends of the like country. So what I did is that although but this was the place where I learned how to teach, because 1.5 years teaching postgraduate students, really I learned a lot. How to interact with the students, how to raise their morale, how to give them a boost so that they go ahead. And then I got married, and I had after that I have also two daughters who are grown up now. And after marriage I joined. Then what I thought, that since I lost a regular job in a university, not lost, I myself gave it up because there was no other option. And I applied to CSIR for a postdoctoral fellowship, and I got it and pursued this at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, a very beautiful place. And there I joined one person who was Dr. Vinod Singh, who was working on ribosome inactivating proteins, especially the extracts of plants. His main area was like the extracts from the bitter gourd seeds, and he used to see that ultimately for therapeutic purposes, that what kind of ribosome inactivating proteins can be extracted. So I worked with him for almost 1.5 years, and after that, unfortunately, he passed away. And in the meantime, my husband, he got transferred to Hyderabad. So I landed at Hyderabad, the most vibrant street. And I really, you all know that you have so many science institutions in Hyderabad, where people, you have CCMB, you have CDFD, and you have IICT and whatnot. So I tried to get into these, but it's not that easy. So then therefore I joined, because I had two daughters who were very, very small, and I didn't want to want them to be with maids for the whole day. So I joined this institute, which is called as Shadan Institute of Postgraduate Studies. It's under Usmania University. And here, I took the challenge of establishing the postgraduate department of genetics. And I also kept on publishing, although research was put on a halt, because I had small girls at home, and I didn't have much of infrastructure in this place. Although later we developed, and it really, we had all the equipment in place once the department was established. And I kept on publishing papers, all the review articles, whatever way, but I didn't leave. Research was my passion. I didn't want to leave it. I also underwent, I requested this Dr. Ashok Kar, who was a senior scientist at CCMB. I requested him that like during summer break and winter break, can you give me an opportunity to just learn all the advanced molecular biology techniques in his lab. And he really allowed me. I learned a lot. I saw that how they work. There, in CCMB, there was nothing like day, or nothing like night. People used to be seen around all 24/7. So that also, fascinated me a lot. And as she was asking me that, I really forgot to put on light as to, she asked me that how to qualify net. If you pursue your like whatever passion you read, the thing is that it's not, you cannot qualify net but just by superficial reading. You have to go in depth, and it has to be a continuous and rigorous effort. then only it's possible for you to get through. I qualified even the Agriculture Research Scientist Board, net, that was also there at that time, for genetics. And that the only thing which helped me was I didn't take any guidance, I didn't go to any coaching institute. The only thing that helped me was, being focused and trying to read as much as possible, and trying to put everything together so that I go into the depth of the subject. After that, I joined this place, which is called as uh, just a moment, Institute of Genetics and Hospital for Genetic Diseases. And here also, this is when I used to go to CCMB to learn and to be. I also came in touch with Dr. Thangraj there, who is one of the renowned, human geneticists in India and abroad. And I also requested him that can we write a project together. So he encouraged me, yes, we can, you start, then I'll help you, we can be on board together. But the person who actually helped me to get into this place was Professor Y.R. Ahuja. I don't know, I'm not able to see his picture here. I pasted it here, I don't know what happened. Anyway, Professor Y.R. Ahuja, a very, he was such a hardworking person. He had retired almost 10 years back, but even then he used to go to CCMB and look into the journals and collect references from there, take xerox of the new findings. And I met him at CCMB gate once, and he told me, what are you doing currently? I said, I'm teaching in a postgraduate institute, although because I took that job because my girls are small, so now they have grown up a little bit, I want to get back to research. So he said that we have a place in Institute of Genetics and Hospital for Genetic Diseases, Usmania University. It's a part of Usmania University, but it's a research institute which deals with, it's like an institute of its own kind, where diagnostic service to patients who are suffering with genetic disorders is offered, and also counseling is offered. We also have different divisions here. We have doctors and researchers working together. So he took me to the director, and there was an interview conducted, and I joined as the molecular biology lab, as the head of the molecular biology lab at this Institute of Genetics and Hospital for Genetic Diseases. And the director then, Professor A. Jyoti, she was a very, although she has retired now, a very cordial and cooperative kind of a lady. She understood that, what setbacks women face in their lives if they want to pursue careers, because they have to move, they have to go more around with their husband, take care of children and all that. Everybody is not like lucky to find a good working place where they have their husbands working around. So but she helped me a lot. That lab was lying in a totally idle condition for so many years, so I revived that lab. We got the new furniture fixed, and I started working. I got projects, and I also because we don't have in this institute any master's program, only PhD students. So slowly students started joining me, and we started working. And in addition to that, I also had the I also had the passion to work in a new field, although because I'll tell you why I got into complex diseases, because here mostly the monogenic disorders they are dealt with. And I started, you can see that lab, it started wearing a very new look, because it was lying totally without a leader for almost 6 to 7 years. So therefore, you need to tie up your shoelaces. If you want to go, if you have a long race, that's what I learned. And you can see some of the students here working at this institute. Guided 10 PhD students who are all well settled. Some of them, they are entrepreneurs. Some of them have gone abroad. Some of them are working in research institutions. So I produced 10 PhDs working here, and I also offered diagnostic service, molecular diagnosis to in patients who were suffering with hemoglobinopathies, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and neural tube defects and all. Even we used to collect amniotic fluid from the hospital wing, the other side, and we used to do molecular analysis to see that if a particular genetic disorder is running in a family, so how we can help them, and by giving by looking at the fetal DNA and trying to see whether those mutations are present. So if, for example, if mainly I used to look at thalassemic children and others, and and also Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it's really pathetic. In India, people are very much interested in knowing that when a child is born, is he a male or a female? Is it a male child or a female child? That doesn't matter at all. The what matters, I've seen that people, the parents who have children affected with different genetic disorders, they suffer a lot. They have to suffer in their entire lives taking care of those children. So therefore, the passion was also to offer prenatal diagnosis so that they don't have more children, because if the disorder is running in the family, they don't have more children who will be affected. So in totality, when I was trying to look at it, I have offered molecular diagnostic service to more than 5,000 patients suffering with different these genetic disorders. Then I landed up. Why did I post? I have pasted this picture. This person is my father-in-law, and this a very dynamic person who used to work in University of Jammu. And one day suddenly he fell down, lost his he was unconscious, he lost his speech, he was paralyzed on one side. And then we had a family friend, Dr. Subhash Kaul, working at Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences. When we consulted him immediately, because he was residing in the same building where we were in Hyderabad. So he told me maybe he has got a brain attack, a stroke. So, and then although we tried our level best, he was sick for 6 months. Ultimately, he passed. This left a very a different kind of impression on my brain, and I used to kept on thinking about this disease, stroke, the brain attack. And and when my mother-in-law told me that even his mother died of the same disease. So being a geneticist, I started thinking that does it have a genetic basis? So I tried instantly keeping going on with monogenic disorders like hemoglobinopathies, DMDs and all. I started working. We submitted a project along with Dr. Thangaraj from CCMB and Dr. Subhash Kaul from Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences, and we tried to look at the genes which are very significant, which had through GWAS was very new, and in Iceland they had found a gene which, for example, phosphodiesterase 4D, which was involved in the pathogenesis of the disease. So we three got together on a platform to work on it, and then this is really scary that every 45 seconds someone in India dies of stroke, and many more they are permanently disabled. So I kept on working with these two people, Dr. Thangaraj, and he provided like sophisticated support in terms of equipment and others infrastructure in CCMB. And Dr. Subhash Kaul, he really, he's a doctor with a passion for research, which I see very rarely. He used to provide us samples. So I think it is more than 1600 samples which we worked with, and we published almost 60 papers on stroke itself, on the genetics of stroke, different aspects, whether what is the scenario in men, what is the scenario in women. So kept on working on it. I received further grants from DBT to work on the modifier genes in hemoglobinopathies, where different patients with the same mutation, the disease severity is different. So that concept, modifier genes, I have worked on, and many things have been published on that front also. So I also have, as I told you, I provided molecular diagnostic service to more than 5,000 patients. I published book chapters and also published books in two books One was in Central University of Punjab, and one when I was at Institute of Genetics. So I have also been a part of 6 DBT sponsored training programs. This was a project by the director of the institute, Professor Jyoti, but she gave us a free hand to train the clinicians in these because clinicians in India, they don't get trained in diagnosis and other things. Then they don't, genetics is not that much was not that much appreciated by clinicians previously, although currently it is. So we had conducted at the institute 6 DBT sponsored training programs. It was a very big grant to train the clinicians every 6 months. This was for 20 days, and we train clinicians, in order to get them exposed. And then we also had, I have also, helped a few people to do their masters in medical sciences. They used to come to the institute, and we helped them in different aspects of their studies. And this is one of the equipment which was very commonly used to provide the diagnostic service to patients with hemoglobinopathies. And these are these were used. So I learned this. I will tell you why I am showing you this, because I didn't know when I joined Institute of Genetics how to read these chromatograms that would tell us that whether the patients are carriers or they're suffering with different kinds of hemoglobinopathies. I used to sit with the technician who was there for so many years working with this. So I used to analyze these chromatograms in order to know how to read them and how to provide the molecular diagnosis. So that is how, if you want to really learn things, there is no bar. You can sit with anybody. James was a very qualified technician. He used to read the chromatograms just by looking at it. So I learned how to analyze these chromatograms sitting with him. And I also, as I told you, many book chapters were published. This is something which, pharmacogenomics, then later it fascinated me. This is something again on hemoglobinopathies, where we had developed this. This was a very what you say, not a very costly kind of an analysis, reverse dot plot, where just 2 days analysis would tell us the status of the patient for a particular hemoglobinopathy at molecular level, either whether it was for prenatal diagnosis or it was for actually detecting the disease. So therefore, going on, I published papers there. As I told you, got a grant on modifier G to work on modifier genes. So this has been published in European Journal of Hematology and molecular biology reports and so on. So also, then one of the students, she joined me. She wanted to work on pharmacogenomics, which is the area where we have to look at the individuals, which is really gearing up now, where we had to look at the individual's genotype, vis-a-vis the response of the medicine. Not each individual responds to the medicine in the same way. Maybe if you prescribe it was a hit and trial method previously. So now we know that there are genetic markers which are specifically required to be analyzed before you prescribe a medicine. It's not necessary that the same medicine works for every individual, which we call as pharmacogenomics. So there also one drug which was given in to these thalassemia patients, deferriprone, that also we did. So I also learned how to perform FISH, and all this facility is established in Central University of Punjab also. We have softwares and a microscope available for this as well. And currently also I'm into it, trying to understand the genetic architecture of complex diseases, stroke. And then two students, they worked on epilepsy, both genetic aspects as well as pharmacogenomic aspects. Currently, we have in Bathinda, there are many patients. Diabetes is quite prevalent. So one student is working on that. I also worked, two of the students worked on breast cancer, trying to decipher the genes which are very much, responsible. As you know, BRCA1 and BRCA2 screening is prescribed for these patients. So we try to see what are the genes which are responsible for this disorder here. And currently I've got recently a grant of 80 lakhs to look at the common genetic contributors to epilepsy and migraine, which seem to have common pathogenic mechanisms. So these are the main papers which I have published. I just put it a few of them on the slide just to inspire the young, this minds. And we might land in future, working on a personalized medicine where we have to look into your DNA, the way you carry your Aadhaar card in your pockets. Maybe tomorrow you have to carry a genomic, profile of a card showing your genomic profile, which will tell you which medicine you have to be given. And that's what is going to be the future. And this is how, there are many more papers. And this is my current working place, where Dr. Felix is also working. We are colleagues. Central University, this is our new campus. And these are the three vice chancellors with whom I have worked with: Professor Jairoop Singh, Professor R.K. Kohli, and currently Professor Raghavendra Prasad Tiwari ji. But I want to acknowledge this person more because, why did I land at Central University of Punjab? I just, without, I didn't have any intentions to come to this place, but I just came for an interview, filled a form and came for an interview. But Professor Jairoop Singh was looking for a senior person to establish the Department of Human Genetics and Molecular Medicine at human genetics, in fact, because previously there were two different departments and later on merged. And he was the one who inspired me a lot to come and do. He said, I need a senior person. I was a little confused how to leave my girls and then come such a far off place from Hyderabad to Central University of Punjab, which is in Bathinda. But my husband also, he pushed me. He said that, it's a challenge to establish a new department in a new university. You better take it up. So then I came here. I joined. This was the old campus. I joined as an associate professor, and I established, this Department of Genetics and Molecular Human Genetics at Central University of Punjab, starting from scratch. We didn't have anything. So putting equipment together, putting whatever is required. So the department is currently fully functional. We have started master's program. 4 to 5 batches have already gone out with MSc in human genetics, and also PhD students. I have produced 3 PhD students here. And I became a professor later by CAS, that is Career Advancement Scheme. But then I also applied for an open position, was selected there. I also have I handle many administrative positions here: Dean School of Health Sciences, Dean School of Management, Dean Research. Currently also I have HOD Applied Agriculture. I'm also presiding officer of ICC, the which is the committee which looks after the safety of women at workplace. I'm the presiding officer here. Also, the learning, it keeps on going. I never had an exposure to administrative, how to handle the administrative responsibilities. So there, how to deal with these cases and how to, I underwent training and all. So because the senior most professor, I am the senior most female professor in my university. So as per UGC norms, the senior most professor, a female professor, has to be the presiding officer. I'm also member of many other things, like I have been an EC member, AC member. I'm a life member of a Third World Organization for Women Scientists, and many more committees of the university. I was also brand ambassador for Swachh Bharat Abhiyan for some time. So this is how the things have they are going on. I have handled so far 500 projects. Some more have been accepted for funding. I have guided 12-page PhD students. 4 are under supervision. 2 PDFs are there. 1 teacher fellow. And the department has also, brought a grant of, I was instrumental in bringing a grant of 92 lakhs to the department, the DST FIST grant. And also, got one of our papers was awarded the excellent review. I got some cash amount also, a cash prize also for this. So this what you say, the publications are going on. Even the thing is that I hold a number of administrative responsibilities, but then I don't feel satisfied if I don't contribute anything to the academics. So if I don't do that, I feel depressed. I feel that I am not doing anything. I have been getting this award. Our university gives an award to the faculty members who publish papers more than, with total impact factor of 15 every year. So this I have bagged almost 4 to 5 times in the university. And I'm also currently, as I told you, we have started working on diabetes. 6,000 patient data has already been collected, and it's going on. So cancer, we have like few genes for response to chemotherapeutic drugs, and few genes responsible for the susceptibility have been already identified. This data is also published. One thing I would like to share with you, especially for the young students, that I sit with my students. I am very close to my students. You see, these are the figures which the students have drawn. They try to understand the mechanistic aspects and then try to draw their own figures. This gives them a little more in-depth in the subject. So like this is going on. I also speak at various places as an invited speaker. For example, this is one of the conferences at my place, Jammu. And also like it's always a pleasure when you speak at your alma mater. This is the University of Jammu, JNDU, Amritsar, and many more places. This is how you get that award when you you score more than 15 impact points in a year, impact factor points. So you get awards in the foundation day. So this is, I have been an AC and EC member. I share the stage with the Vice Chancellor and other dignitaries for convocations, and Felix is also there in one of these with me. And recently, this is the launch of EMS, where you can see our Honorable Vice Chancellor, and being one of the senior most faculty members, was a part of it. Similarly, my students are very dear to me. I love them, and I don't let their morale go down. I sit with them, I work with them, and that's how they also love me. So we are a part of the family. And as I already told you, that 12 PhD students have already been awarded under my guidance. This was also a part of another function where you had the inauguration of the new campus, and we had Madam Harsimrat Kaur Badal and the Minister of the State being with us, also involved in plantation drive at new campus. So this is the lab currently where I work, and this is our new campus. This is my group currently, the Department of Human Genetics and Molecular Medicine. Currently, I am working at the Dean Research and HOD of Applied Agriculture. So the message here is that if you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it. So that is the message, you see. And one more thing, being a female, I'll tell you that many women, they give up careers because there are pressures from the family. You move around with your husbands and all. But if you have if you want to really achieve things, I come from a place which is like really beautiful, and I owe it to my father, because he used to, I have grown up with boys because no other girl child in the family. So my father used to treat me as a boy only. I used to go to the market to bring things when it was a taboo to send girls outside, especially in a place like Kashmir. But my father, he used to give me a boost that go do it. And that's how I have learned. I don't have any inhibitions. I can travel, I can go anywhere. So that is the message, that women should not give up. They have to, if you have the passion, I'll tell you that you will achieve it. Maybe there is a lag period. Definitely there has been a lag period in my life as well, but I'm happy that at least I have been able to reach till now. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak in this program. So over to you,
Thanks a lot,
Felix.
ma'am. Yes, thanks a lot, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. Wow, what a journey it has been. And we are really privileged to have you as a woman starting this YSL series in 2021. And your journey is absolutely inspiring. I would like, before speaking something, I would like to invite Shruti to summarize the talk and whatever the points, takeaway home messages that you have. Shruti.
Yeah, sure. Highly inspirational talk. I really look forward. So you are also an inspiration for me to dream high
Thank
in
you,
life.
Shruti. Yeah.
So, I would like to summarize whatever you spoke. So, yeah, you speak about fascination of being a doctor, and since you couldn't achieve it by your MBBS degree, so you tried it with by studying a PhD for getting that. Um, so, as you were mentioning that you're a systematic person, always you are before. I mean, you used to prepare before the schedule, everything, and I think it's a rare thing because nowadays all the students they always prepare in the last minute. So I think for because I was also just hearing one talk by Ankur. So he was telling rather than setting a target, we should set a I mean we should have a habit to do so. By habit only we can success rather than just setting a goal because it can be achievable or not. But if we just try to work for that and we make a habit of being systematic, so eventually it works out. um, yeah, and yes, I think your mentor for genetics, it helped you shape the career. And I also remember in my college, during my graduation, since genetics was also one of my subjects, my teacher Yogini Joshi, she was, I mean, she used to teach it in a very interesting manner, and I remember it was the only class that everybody used to attend. Otherwise, in all the class, people used to bunk. So, so I mean, she also used to teach it in a very interesting way, and the way people teach also creates an impact and interest towards just students. So yeah, and it's very inspirational to note that you completed your MPhil and PhD in 4 years itself. Because in my college, people usually it stretches like 5, 6, 7 years just to complete the PhD. So it's really worth noting. Um, yeah. So I think you have worked with
Here I would like to
yeah,
interrupt Shruti. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
the mentor because he would never let us sit at home even on Sundays. Never
Mhm.
ever during my MPhil and PhD degree I have ever stayed home during a holiday. So he used to be a hard taskmaster. He taught us how to write, and he used to be, quite time bound. He would not let us, jump those lines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, even my PhD, I mean my MTech guide, Dr. Snehashi sir. So he also has completed his PhD in 2 years. So he always motivates us that even you should try to do that in a short time. So yeah. Uh, yeah, so I think you mentioned about your work with Plantago, that is the inheritance pattern that you've excessively studied. And it's interesting to note that, I mean, how you were very flexible. I mean, after completing your PhD, you were in Banastali Vidyapeeth. Then, because of the transfer, you shifted to different places and try to get the opportunities there, adjusting with everything. So it's really great because it becomes a tendency if you are settled in one place, so people don't want to shift. But then because of condition, I mean, we have to be bit flexible for that. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, and then you mentioned about joining IGHO for doing research as a head of mall bio lab, and it's really worth to note that since that lab was not working, you made an effort to revive it, even if it was not working for many years. So it takes a lot of efforts to start from scratch and do all the work and everything. And I really like one point that you mentioned, that is, difference in gender doesn't matter, but the children with genetic disease. Because I mean, I have myself seen that the students, I mean, the children with different disabilities, they suffer so much. It is not the pain for that individual itself, but also for their parents. So I mean, that is a very important thing. And it's great that you took up this issue and you have worked in that area. Um, yeah. So and also today I came to know that every 45 seconds people die of stroke, and we have worked extensively in that area also. Um, yeah, and then not only doing research and teaching, but also you have taken different trainings from CCMB. It's really great. So from this thing, I just wanted to, I just had one question. That is, how you are able to multitask so much. That is, I mean, you have not only handled the research and teaching, but also, I mean, you have got trained yourself, and then you are also handling different administrative works, and you're also ambassador of so many programs like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan that you mentioned. I mean, how you are able to multitask and take up so many activities in
Yeah, Shruti,
yeah.
I told you, that I don't waste any time.
Hmm.
I even at home, I when I leave my home, it's that things are cooked, everything is in place, and I go to the university. And then there also every day it's a plan chalked out, that what is it that I have to contribute as far as research is concerned. What is it the other activities, because there are meetings, there are other things, there are activities to be taken up. So the time is very important. How to manage time and how to be systematic. You have to be systematic to manage all these responsibilities. And one thing I do is that if I'm not able to complete anything at university, I'll sit at home. Even if it is 11 or 12 in the night, I will complete that task that day itself. Unless, there are other pressures, I try to finish off whatever I have chalked down, whatever program I have chalked down for a particular day. I try my level best to complete it.
That's really
Okay.
great. Hmm.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, Shruti, for the summarizing and very thought-provoking discussion. And yeah, it was a fantastic talk, and I can see that in the chat box, some of your student Abhilash, I can see his comment in it. And yes, so before going to Nitin is also here with us. So I just have one question to you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because you are from Kashmir and you have experienced first-handedly the eviction,
Mm.
as a Kashmiri Pandit. So, what is the impact of this incident in your life? Did it make you stronger?
It
Over to you,
did.
ma'am.
It did. Because, I've seen, actually, I was a little bit lucky in the sense that when that turmoil actually happened, just 1 year before that, my father got transferred to Jammu. But, we used to, the rest of the family, my grandmother, my uncles, we had a joint family. I have four cousins who have, with whom I used to play. I've grown up. And, we lost everything there, and it was a setback. I remember that one day my father sitting on the stairs in our Jammu house. So I came back from the university. I was pursuing my MPhil at the time. I asked him what happened. He said that somebody has burnt our house in Srinagar, and we lost everything. It's not that those things have an impact on your mind. And then I have seen that how people came to to our house. We had 7 to 8, 8 to 9 families in one, how living in one house, and then how slowly they found their places. And I've seen people, who came. Education is something which kept my community going on. So that is also one of the messages, that I can see my community people all over the world. I can see them in good positions at various places. The only thing which kept them going on is the education. But definitely, I lost my grandmother because she never had an exposure. She never stayed in a hot climate like Jammu. So during this terrorism, she could never go back to her home. It's a dream for me to go and see. And I wanted to go back to the same house where I used to watch the sunset and that river Jhelum, but it's not there. So always, whenever we think about it, you feel a lot. You cannot actually, if, for example, if you want to go and recollect something, there's nothing like that where you can go and see those memories back. So I've never gone to my place since, I think it's more than 2 decades. Not 2 decades, around 20 years.
We have Dr. Nitin with us. Over to you, Dr. Nitin. You can, start discussing about the talk.
Thank you, Felix.
Yeah.
And first of all, I would like to wish a very happy, healthy, and productive 2021 to all members of the YSL family. And now coming to the Professor Anjana ma'am's talk, though I have joined late, but I could see, the last slides, and I was impressed the way, your credentials. You have published more than 100 papers and several grants. Then you are involved in so many activities and academic responsibilities as well. So I think all the young researchers and young leaders should, try to learn from your experience and achievements. That nowadays, being a young researcher, sometimes I feel that so many pressure is there, and we have to involve in so many activities, and the moral goes down. And but after seeing the presentations like yours, so it gives us a positive, positivity and confidence. And I think this is the superb beginning of our YSL talk in 2021. So I think Shruti has summarized well, so I will not go into again all the details, but I wish you all the best for your future endeavors from YSL family. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitin. Wish you too a happy and prosperous new year.
Yeah, thanks, Nitin. Thanks, Nitin, for this very interesting comment. And yes, women empowerment is one of the key aspects of the YSL series. And ma'am has already mentioned about her, as a woman, how she actually struggled hard in the early, years, and how actually her perseverance actually paid, heed in a long run. And, I would like to ask you about the work-life balance. That what are your approaches? Because I know that you have 2 daughters, and the daughters are brilliant. And one of your daughters got the first rank, right? First rank in Punjab for the +2. So how did you manage some tips on the parenting? Because many of the young science leaders of the YSL, our viewers are mostly the young faculties and the young scientists, and they are the new parents, So including Dr. Nitin, congratulations, Nitin. You are blessed with a son, all right? So what are your tips on parenting as an academician? Yes.
Yeah, Felix, you see, keeping my career going on, I never, was reluctant to look after my children. One approach which I feel each and every parent has to follow is that give them a chance to speak, give them a chance to pursue what they want, and be friendly with them. You see, I'm really happy that my daughters, both the daughters, they have come to the stage where I don't feel that they are, although they have grown up now, and I don't feel that they are my children. Sometimes I feel they are friends, because we have given them an open environment not to hide things right from the beginning. And even I'll tell you that when they had to undergo, when they had the maturity was about to come in terms of having a menstrual cycle and all, I prepared them, showing them pictures. I prepared them that it was not a shock to them. My girls took it very easily. They took it as a part of life, because we had shown them pictures, and I had explained it to them that it's a natural phenomena which goes on, and you don't have to get depressed by this. This is the way you have to handle it. So even like later on, my younger one, about whom you were talking, that she stood first in Punjab, she didn't want to. She's a voracious reader. She reads a lot. We have cupboards filled up with books of her interest. We never stopped her. we never stopped her, and she said that I don't want to pursue. My husband is a scientist, my elder one daughter is a computer engineer. We never stopped her. She said, I want to pursue economics as my career. I didn't stop her. I didn't tell her that she wanted to go. She just completed her economics honors from Christ University, Bangalore. Although she had also got admission in DU. She didn't want my children are more South Indians, because they are born and brought up at there. But we give them a free. Even my husband is very open, And one more thing, I want to thank on this platform my husband. He has been supporting me like anything. He is the person who pushed me from Hyderabad to Central University of Punjab to take up the challenge of establishing Department of Human Genetics and Molecular Medicine here. And he accompanied. He was with me for almost 2 weeks here. I was little disturbed. I didn't want to do it because at that time the elder daughter had just gone to she started her computer science engineering with Delhi University, and the younger one was in 9th standard. It was really, a challenge for me that, bringing her from an environment like Hyderabad to Bathinda. It's not, there are differences between very big cities and this, and then, putting her in a the single school in which was following ICSE curriculum in Bathinda. She joined 10th class, and then computer science was not taught here. I took her in holidays to Hyderabad to her old teacher, and she gave her more information about. We used to take her to her home. Almost 15 days she followed it. So we have I have grown up my children. I have given full time. That's otherwise I will tell you that in the beginning I chose only teaching as a profession for a couple of years till the children were grown up a little bit, at least they could go to school and all. By that time I used to go at 7 in the morning. 9 o'clock my husband used to drop them in daycare center, and by 1 o'clock, because the college used to work from 7 to 1, and then afternoon they had boys coming to the same college. So that is how I kept on going, and ultimately when they were a little bit grown up, they could manage things. I shifted back to research and pursued.
Fantastic. Shruti, would you like to add some point? You please unmute.
Yeah, so I mean, it is quite inspirational. I mean, I would like to say that. So I would like to reiterate that you said in the last slide. That is, if you can imagine it, you can achieve it, and if you can dream it, then you can become it. So I really think that. I mean, you have been a live example for that. So I hope that especially the women scientists, they also aspire to dream big and achieve great things in life. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti.
Yeah, I would like to ask you, because I have first-hand experience in the Central University, having worked with you for many years, that one of the comments from the students is that you don't have any problems with the students. So what are your strategies in case some conflict arises in the lab? So conflict resolution strategies.
Conflict, Felix, I don't, I try my level best that conflicts don't arise. That is my first strategy. I'm very friendly with my students, but even if once in a while it arises, so I try to, I don't try to dictate terms. I try to come down to their level, and like a friend, speak to them and try to sort it out. I'll give you an example that I had a student who had joined PhD with me in Hyderabad 10 years back. Then there were some turmoils in her family. She had some like problems and all. So, but she wanted to complete it. When my husband was posted at Bangalore, I called her, because Hyderabad to Bangalore, it is easier. I called her home. She stayed with me. She had done good work, but now she had inhibitions to compile it. And she also was little having inhibitions that how I will take it. But I told her that no, it's if you have done your work, it's my duty as a mentor to see that you complete it, you submit it. We sat together for many days, and we, sorted it out, how introduction has to be, how she has to write, how she has to present her results, and ultimately she submitted. And the day before yesterday day, she got her degree awarded. It was a matter of 10 years. She has been awarded her degree now.
Yeah, congratulations, ma'am, for that.
Yeah.
It's a great achievement.
Thank you.
And Nitin, would you like to add a few points before concluding?
I just want to ask one simple question. As Can you just nowadays we can see that the students have problem with their guide and all. As you are dealing friendly with the students, that is fine. But what is the message to the guide or the students? Because the students have a problem that the guide doesn't allow, for attending conferences, and time availability is the issue and all. So what is the key point?
Yeah, I think, the message is to the mentors as well, that they need to be little more open, in the sense that, we don't have to stop students doing whatever they want to, but it's also to guide them for not going on a wrong, path. So the thing is that, students, I feel that if you give them enough room to speak, and then you also have to spend time. That's very important. It's not that, I am on various committees where there are complaints. Although I should not say it on a platform like this, where there are complaints from the students about their mentors, that they have submitted their drafts, they are not correcting. So it's a mutual, it's a symbiotic relationship, it's a give and take relationship. So unless and until you also give them full time, and you also guide them properly, I don't think that students, leaving aside a couple of them, I think most of them, they are they want to pursue their careers, they want to do good work, but conflicts arise out of only, these small things. You're not in a position to give them time, you don't allow them to go to a conference. Let them be open, let them, learn many things. Even during this pandemic, I have been sending links to my students where there were free workshops, free online lectures, that please go and attend. So the mentor also has to, it's either side. It's not only from the side of the students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot. And yes, it's a real inspiration. I can see that. I'm scrolling through the comment box. I can see comments by Tanusri, Sumaya, and so on. Words of appreciation and how inspirational this talk had been. Thanks a lot from the YSL series. And I just have one final question to you. That do you have any final message for the young researchers of the country? We have well over almost 20,000 members in the Google groups, and many people will be watching it later as well. So what would be your final message to the young scientists of the country?
Yeah. So, Felix, we feel that, we in India, we do not have a lot of infrastructure. We can actually, the research can be on any front where you do not require a lot of money. Although the area which I am working, I require a lot of money. It's not that. But, if you have an idea, if you really want to pursue research as a career, you can start working with anything which takes you to the next level. The thing is that your commitment and it's not you have to accept the challenges. Say for example, if you go to the internet, and I think you must have also seen that how much small room Morgan used to work with. So the thing is that you need to be focused. If you are really carrying out research, it has to be for the sake of it. It's not that just for earning a degree, a PhD degree and all. And then there are now efforts from the government also that we should not allow this brain drain to happen, but that is definitely happening, because we do not have where they come up with papers. Our own students who go abroad, they come up with papers in science. And
Yeah, it looks like a ma'am got disconnected. So doesn't matter. We'll wait for a while. Some issues. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. It's you can try to come back. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there seems to be some internet issues, but still, yeah, it was really interesting, isn't it? Okay, welcome back, ma'am. There are some issues with the internet connection, I guess. Hello. Somehow you are not audible, ma'am.
Hi, Felix.
Yes, 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 yes. It's fine
Uh,
now.
some technical glitch, so I'm
Yeah,
joining.
no problem.
Yeah, right. So that's how, young students need to be persistent, take care of time, and they have to think out of box. That's it.
Very good. Fantastic, ma'am. Thanks a lot for this today. It was thoroughly inspirational, and I completely enjoyed listening to your story. I'm sure that many students around the world, around India, really got motivated by your speech, and not just students, but young faculties and young scientists too. So, on behalf of Young Science Leader Series and Young Academy of India, thanks a lot, ma'am, for spending this afternoon with us on this beautiful Sunday. And I wish you again another year 2021 full of success and happiness.
Thank you so much, Felix. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I enjoy being with you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Shruti and Nitin as well.
Thank you.
And I will all see you again in our next YSL series. Please wait for the announcement.